Hi friends, happy Friday. Welcome back. It's great to see you again. Please, if you're watching live, or even if you're watching in the replay, say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. And also, please do me a favor and let me know where you usually are for lunch, because today I'm going to teach you a quick lunch recipe, and I would love to know who I'm talking to so I can give you tips for whether you're working from home, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or a retiree and you're home for lunch usually, or if you're usually taking your lunch to work or out of the house. I would love to know. Let's see who we've got so far. Welcome, Mary from Fort Worth, Texas. Great to see you again. So nice to have you here. So today I'm going to teach you a fajita salad with a beautiful cilantro lime dressing. It's delicious. It's really filling and nourishing, and you can put it together really quickly on a weekday for lunch or on a weekend, of course, especially if you've done a little prep work in advance. And I'm going to explain all of that to you in just a few moments. Let's see, we've got Judith here from Michigan, usually home for lunch. Great, Judith. Welcome, Carolyn. Hello from Kentucky. I'm usually lunching at home. A retiree cooking for one. Great. Nice to have you here, Carolyn. Welcome, Deborah from British Columbia, Canadian. Great. Thank you for coming. Paula from Florida. I'm home and type 1 diabetic. Great. Well, this recipe is going to be great for you too, Paula. Welcome. Thank you for being here. All right. As you know, all these recipes are whole food, plant-based, and low in fat. So they're great if you're following the Mastering Diabetes method of living and eating to manage your diabetes. So this will be great. And it's going to also include amla green hibiscus, which is great for antioxidants, but also the amla in here is wonderful for blood glucose control as well for anyone. Also helps with heart health, lowering blood pressure, lowering cholesterol levels. And I am really honored to be here as an invited guest of Amla Green to teach you this recipe and show you new ways to use amla green in your daily life. Welcome, Gloria from Texas. So nice to have you here. Wonderful. Joy from Williamsburg. Welcome. Great. Okay. My name is Stephanie. If you haven't seen me here before, we do these about every other week. I am a whole food plant-based chef and cooking instructor. And like I said, our friends at Amla Green have invited me here to share this really yummy lunch recipe with you. So I would love to show you how I do this. I'm going to demonstrate this recipe, and then we'll have a little time at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions while I'm demonstrating, please put those in the comments, and then I'll be able to answer them at the end, which is always fun and educational for everyone. Hi, Jenny from Roseville, California. So glad you're here too. And then also, if you stick around to the end, I'll tell you how to get a free gift from our friends at Amla Green. So it's definitely worth it to stick around, see the full finished salad, and find out how to get that gift as well. All right, so as I mentioned, this comes together really quickly, especially if you've done a little prep work in advance. And so I'm going to tell you what those things are. First is, if you can cook a little bit of quinoa in advance, maybe on the weekend. I like to use red quinoa for this recipe. I like the texture of this. It's important to know that it takes a little longer to cook than yellow quinoa, so something to keep in mind. And I'll go through the steps to cook this in just a moment. The other prep step that would be great to get out of the way in advance would be to chop some of your fajita veggies. I really love to use red onions, some bell peppers, maybe a couple different colors like yellow and orange, and then maybe some sliced up portobello mushrooms, and I slice the zucchini into bite-sized pieces. And again, that's something that you can get out of the way on the weekend, and then just pull it out of your fridge and throw it onto the salad. You can use those veggies raw if you'd like to, but I'm going to show you how I cook them. One of the methods you can use to cook them in a very healthful, oil-free way today as well. And then if you want to, you can make the sauce in advance and keep that in the fridge and use that. So when you're actually putting this all together, it comes together really easily with a little prep work. But the sauce is easy, and I'm going to show you that today too. All right, so should we get started? As I mentioned, I like to cook the red quinoa in advance. So a couple of tips here. You want to soak the dry quinoa for maybe just a few minutes and rinse it several times. The reason is because quinoa and many other seeds and nuts have a substance on them called saponins, and those are enzyme inhibitors. They need that. The seeds need that for germinating in nature at the right time of year. However, We don't want to inhibit the enzymes in our body, so it's better to rinse those off. So rinse them a couple of times. And then you just cook this in double the water. So let's say you have 1 cup of dry quinoa, use 2 cups of water, and boil it or simmer it covered for about 20 minutes. And a lot of the packages instruct you to cook it for less time, but I find it's not fully cooked until it's cooked for 20 minutes. And you can even, after that time, turn it off, let it steam for an additional 10. And you'll see it kind of like almost explodes open. So you get like that white looking, more of the white amongst the red, and you'll know that it's done that way. While I'm holding this though, I'm gonna just show you that I'm gonna season it with some taco seasoning. I've measured about a tablespoon for this 1 cup of cooked red quinoa. And I'm just gonna add that in. You can use up to 2 tablespoons. It's gonna depend on your taste. And to season the quinoa, we're just gonna stir this in. You can taste it, see if you like it this way, maybe add a little more. It's always better to start small on the taco seasoning because it does add a little bit of heat, right? It's a little bit spicy, usually. And then you could always add more, but you can't take it out, right? So you gotta ease in slowly with that. All right, and so that's seasoned. You can even do that step in advance if you'd like to. I'm gonna set that aside. And I'm cooking my veggies in my countertop griddle. This is sometimes sold as like a panini press, but the one I'm using is a Cuisinart griddler. And you'll see that I've gotten a head start here just for the demonstration purposes, but I sliced up some red onion and some yellow and orange bell peppers. And I've already grilled those oil-free on my countertop panini press. And I've still got in here some sliced portobello mushrooms and some zucchini. And I'll show you what this looks like. It's really beautiful once it's all grilled up. And this might be a method of cooking that you're not used to using. So I wanted to inspire you with that idea today. But you could always just steam your veggies or do a quick vegetable broth saute if you'd like to instead. An oil-free method of cooking your veggies. And of course, the other option, even simpler, is to just use your veggies raw in the salad if you'd like to. All right. And then the last step for putting this all together, I have opened a can of black beans and I put them in my mesh strainer and I just rinse them off. So that's a super easy, quick step. And I've washed some salad greens. This is the bin or the strainer for my salad spinner. If you don't have a salad spinner, I really recommend getting one. It just makes salad prep super easy. But I've done a combination of mixed greens in here. So I've got some arugula. Arugula is my favorite salad green, and honestly, if I don't have some arugula in my salad, I'm a little disappointed. So I always add that, and it's also super good for you. But then I've got a mix of like they call power baby greens. There's some spinach and baby kale and baby chard, so that's a really nice mix. Generally speaking, though, I'll just give you a tip. If you're eating salad on a regular basis, which I hope you are, it's really good for you. It's a great idea to mix up the greens that you use because each different kind of green, whether it's spinach or kale or arugula, has a little bit of a different nutrient profile. And so it's nice to vary that up to also vary the nutrients that you get in your regular diet. So I've got those on the side here. And now I'm going to show you how to make our beautiful cilantro lime sauce. And it's going to use some of this Amla hibiscus tea. So it's going to get extra antioxidant boost in here. So I'm using the blender cup for my little NutriBullet. And anytime you're blending up just a little bit of sauce, it's great to use a smaller blender like this. Doesn't have to be that brand, but it's really just because if you use a big kitchen blender, like a normal size one, the ingredients will just splash up on the sides and you won't really get a nice mix. You could also mix it in a small bowl by hand, so it's not too hard. And I'm going to start with about 3 tablespoons of water. I've already measured these ingredients out so I could show you. And I'm going to put in a tablespoon of almond butter. And again, I've measured this, so I'm going to push it into the blender cup with my silicone spatula. The almond butter I use is like a very fine almond butter. They've taken the skins off the almonds before they've blended it, and that makes it really smooth when you're blending it into sauces. So that's why it looks a little bit lighter in color maybe than your almond butter that you buy at the store. But any almond butter is okay. Then I'm going to put a teaspoon of nutritional yeast. If you're not familiar with this ingredient, it is a deactivated yeast that's used as a food seasoning, but it's also really nutritious, hence the name nutritional yeast, and you can buy this at most health food stores. So that's nice to add to it. Adds like almost an umami cheese-ish like flavor. So it's really nice to add. And then I've got a fresh lime. We're gonna take some of the zest first. And I'm using for that my microplane tool. If you haven't seen one of these before, you can pick these up at a supermarket or a big box retailer. And of course, my lime is clean already, so I'm going to just take a little zest. We're gonna get some juice out of here first, but a quick tip, it's better to zest your lime first before you cut it open, then it's really hard to zest after that. So I'm gonna do that first. And we only need about like a 1/4 teaspoon of lime zest. So I just kind of rotating the lime around and rubbing it a few times on this grater, my microplane, until I get a 1/4 teaspoon. You can be a little more aggressive if you'd like. But yeah, when you're thinking about getting lime juice, sometimes you might be tempted to buy one of those plastic green limes from the produce section of your supermarket. And I urge you instead to actually buy the fresh fruit and do this yourself, especially with the juice. Because the juice that comes in those plastic limes it's usually a lot of artificial flavors. They've got preservatives in there. Much better for you to juice your limes and lemons, citrus yourself. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment too. All right, so I've got, wow, plenty of zest here. I'm just gonna take my 1/4 teaspoon. You can do more if you really love that lime flavor. And I'm gonna put a 1/4 teaspoon of lime zest into the blender cup as well. And now that I've zested it, I can cut it open. Use my chef's knife for that. I'll just cut it in half. And I've got this citrus reamer tool. It's just a piece of wood. And I'm going to squeeze out about a tablespoon of lime juice right into my blender cup. Please note that for these proportions, and you don't have to write this down because our producer Bess will share the recipe with you in the comments at the end of this video. But for all of these quantities, you can just do it to taste. Like it's, as long as you're getting roughly this ratio, maybe you like more lime juice. Maybe you like a little bit of extra heat, you can put that in. It's entirely up to you. Maybe you love nutritional yeast and you can add 2 teaspoons, go crazy. So that's it. I'm just gonna get about a tablespoon of lime juice in here right now. So that's nice and easy. I can store the rest of this in the fridge for another use if I need to, or I can zest it all and juice it all and then freeze it in an ice cube container so I can get it later. It'll still be nice and fresh. What else do we need in here? A little bit of fresh cilantro. So I have a big bunch of this right next to me here. Beautiful fresh cilantro leaves. I'm just gonna cut off a little bit, maybe a tablespoon, maybe 2 if you really love cilantro. Maybe like the amount of cilantro that you can hold in your fingers, right? And add that to the blender cup as well. And then we're gonna get our amla green hibiscus in there. Hibiscus is an antioxidant packed. Just lost my little scoop, here it is. And it's so good for you in so many ways. Amla, the Indian gooseberry ingredient in here, is also excellent for your health. It's one of the highest containing foods with antioxidants. That was poor grammar, but you know what I meant, hopefully. We're gonna put 2 scoops of that in here, since this recipe is gonna yield 2 servings of this delicious fajita salad. All right, so you can pick this up at amlagreen.com. Do we need anything else in here? If you love your spicy food, you want your food to bite you back a little bit, you can add a 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes in here to give this a little bit of heat, which is really nice. You could add even a little more taco seasoning if you'd like to get the same effect. And then we're just gonna do one more thing, about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder in here too. Here we go. And I think that's everything. So I'm gonna turn behind me here. I've got the base for my NutriBullet, and I'll ask Bess to just cut the mic for a second so we don't blow your eardrums out with the blender sound, and I will be back in a moment with my sauce. Here's the sauce, our cilantro lime sauce, all ready to go. I'm going to set that aside and show you how I assemble all of this. So we'll start with, I have this really nice salad plate. And look, if you're making salad for a meal, make it a big salad. It's not going to be filling unless it is. Of course, we've got lots of other ingredients to add, but really be generous with the greens. They're so good for you. You can chop these if you'd like in advance. And I'm just going to put these out on my plate here. I would say at least 3 or 4 cups of mixed greens here for the base of your salad, okay? And now I'm going to grab that taco seasoned red quinoa and put that on top, maybe about 1/2 cup per serving here. It's up to you. You can add more. This is really healthy food for you if you'd like. Or if you're not as big on the quinoa flavor or this taco seasoned flavor, you can do a little less. And while I'm here, I'll grab some of these black beans, maybe 1/3 cup or however many black beans you would like. I'm using a soup spoon here to scoop these out of my mesh strainer here. And black beans, as you probably know, are excellent for your health because they're packed with fiber and plant-based protein. So it's really nice to be more generous with those as well. And then I'll get some of my grilled veggies here. And I showed you these before, but in case you're just joining us, I've got some red onion, bell peppers, some zucchini, and still on the grill, I've got some, sorry. My sauce dropped because it was behind my grill. Portobello mushroom slices also on the grill. So I'm just going to put a little of each of these on here, my fajita veggies, right on top. So I've got some of the onion. I'm getting the zucchini. And please know you can use any of your favorite veggies. You can cook them any way you'd like. Steam, saute, roast. You can do a veggie broth saute of these. But it's just colorful and beautiful. These look great. I'm just gonna add a little bit of the mushrooms directly from my countertop griddle here, my grill. Put those on top. Let me show you what this looks like so far. I'm just gonna hold it up a little bit because it's amazing, but we're not even done yet. I'm gonna grab a little bit of my favorite red salsa. This makes it convenient, but even healthier would be to chop up your own diced tomato. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of tomato salsa here, right on top. Couple soup spoons full will be perfect. And then what's next? We need our cilantro lime dressing with the amla green hibiscus in it. And I'll just pour this directly on top. It's nice and thick, a little bit creamy from the almond butter. And you can go easy with this at first. And add more to taste if you'd like. And then the final garnish will just be to take some of these additional fresh cilantro leaves and put them right on top. Isn't this beautiful? It came together literally in moments, just once the prep tasks were done. And like I said, you can easily get this out of the way on the weekend, or those prep tasks out of the way on the weekend, and just assemble it real quick. If you're home, if you're going to work with your lunch, you can put all of these components together, the greens and the quinoa and the veggies in a little travel box. And then I would put the salsa and your cilantro lime dressing on the side and add those right before you mix it up and enjoy it at work or wherever you're eating out. So let's just get a nice taste of this right now. And if there have been any questions during our presentation, doesn't look like there are, so I was going to offer to answer them, but this is pretty straightforward. So yeah, let's just take a quick taste of this. I've got some of the greens and the beans and the quinoa on my scoop here with salsa and the cilantro lime dressing. Friends, it's so flavorful and delicious. And if I eat this entire salad, I'm going to be full all afternoon. It's delicious. So we will post the recipe in the comments at the end of this live video, so you can reference it here at the On the Green Facebook page whenever you need to. And now I would like to share with you, as promised, your free gift to enjoy maybe a whole Mexican theme. Maybe Cinco de Mayo is coming up, so you can make this salad to celebrate. I believe it's a Sunday this year, so that's extra fun. Invite some friends over. Put this salad together and then whip up a healthy, delicious mocktail. I think there's a margarita recipe in this guide, so be sure to write the word guide in the comments right now. And our friends at On La Green will send you the mocktail guide, which will be a great compliment to this beautiful lunch. And if we don't have any other questions, I feel like maybe we can just close this up. So my friends, thank you so much for watching. It's a pleasure as always to cook with you. Hope you enjoy this recipe, and I will see you again next time. Have a great weekend.